What is going on, y'all? How's it going? Here we go for the weekly Wednesday BG Cast show. Fucking y'all up. I'm not usually wearing my normal beanie, and I'm not usually wearing my normal sweater. I'm in the fucking tank top because I'm in the basement just chilling. I got my hair cut before the Ben Davison podcast. It really did not turn out the way I wanted it to. So I know some of you out there are like, bro, let's see the hair. Let's see what it's like without the beanie. Unfortunately, it's going to be stuck. Some kind of lid is going to be stuck on this head until that hair corrects itself. Newsflash, don't go to Great Clips. My barber was booked up and I had no choice. So, a couple things I want to talk about real fast. Number one, we will be doing a Wednesday show tomorrow. Me and Mr. Joe Price Stupa. We're going to touch base on networking with your community and preparing for things ahead. I think that's a really good thing to bring up and to talk about. I'm actually even going to bring it up here a little bit and talk about it here. So, during these times, we live in times of great change. We live in times of great uncertainty. We live in times where we are going through radical shifts right now. And really, this world is not going to be around for too much longer. I mean, even for some of you optimists, it's probably not going to be the same. It's probably going to change even when we get older, when we're in our older years. There's going to be a lot of things coming. A possible solar micronova event, as well as economic collapses, as well as, just normal civil unrest, shortages of supplies. Don't get me wrong. I think that's all part of the show and that's all part of the stage. But what we can do is we can network with each other. We can start a community. And I'm actually going to start that right now. Find me on Telegram. All right, I have the BG Cast chat. Come find me. Let's talk. Let's organize. Let's network. I think right now it is very important that we all get to know each other and we all establish some kind of network, some kind of trade route, some kind of community within ourselves and the people around us. Because we do not know when things are going to change. I think, in all honesty, the currency of the future is going to be what you can bring to the table. What are your skills? What can you do? What can you make? What are you growing? Are you raising livestock? Are you providing food? I'm a jack of all trades, master of one. So I have a feeling that can be brought to the table. I am working. God damn it! You always got to do that. I am working. On some alternative energy stuff. I don't want to dig into it too much because I'm not trying to have the alphabet agency show up at my door and start asking me questions. But if you want to talk on Telegram, I can talk with you about it, and we can I can kind of show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. So I do want to talk about being prepared for sure. You guys, it is integral to learn how to grow your own food. It is integral to know how to hunt. If you get chickens, if you get quails, I got a buddy of mine who wants to give me a few quails. I'm totally down. And, start learning these things. Start learning a trade. Start learning skills. Start learning how to grow food. Start learning how to hunt. Start learning these things and start organizing and networking with people in your community. It's going to help, most certainly. And I think even now, don't fear, but prepare. I think that's the best way I can put it. So I will be on my friend Matthew Elliott Beckman's podcast next Wednesday. I just talked with him and his friend Nova last night. We're going to be doing an interview on me about ancient civilizations. So I think this is going to be, and how it ties into stuff that's going on today as far as the etymology things and stuff like that. If you guys are following my Facebook, you saw I posted a thing on mantras today. Mantras to me are a very effective tool in helping alter your reality and manifest your desires and what you want. I've been doing a specific mantra I posted on the Facebook. I'm not going to get too heavily into it, but what I am going to say is it is working. After about 3-4 months of it now, it is working. It is very interesting. And you saw that I posted the cymatic links too. So when you do these mantras and you do these chants and these divine languages, you are projecting something into your consciousness sphere. You are projecting into your reality what you want to manifest. Of course, you have to put some elbow grease in it. You know what I mean? It's, that even relates to the Christian term, God only helps those who help themselves. And while, yes, we can raise our vibrations and we can attract everything we can, we still sometimes just got to put that little bit of elbow grease in. So, and now you actually see me in good lighting because when I'm over at Joe's, the lighting is not 100%. It makes me look kind of frumpy. Not a big fan of that. This is how I really look, y'all, I promise. So, I'm going to be on that show. I'm going to try to get Joe on too. I got to talk with him about that. I really dig our combined shows. They're going to be called BG Tap shows from now on. We've decided. So, just messing around and, having good fun with this. It's all about fun, guys. We like to give you thought provoking conversations. We like to give you things to listen to. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. If you do like, subscribe. You can find me here on YouTube. You can find me on Rumble. Come add me on Facebook. I got a Twitter handle. My freaking God. There we go. And then just come find me. Let's talk. So, a couple things I want to bring up on the world stage. The whole Andrew Tate thing. Now, it's all coming out that the people who supposedly pressed these charges and made these calls said it was all a lie themselves. So, this even further, in my opinion at least, proves that he is an actor himself. But I don't really know what his ends all motive is. As far as right now, he's looking like he's trying to help people. And I'm about that. I'm about helping people. I help people to a fault. And in all reality, I hope nothing but the best for him. I hope he can figure out what's going on and he can kind of give us his true intentions soon. Because I'm really interested. I know a lot of people out there dislike him, and there's certain things I pay attention to on this world stage because I do think they're important. I've said this ad nauseum, and I think this will probably be the last time I say it. But it's an interesting thing to look at. And I mean, there's been even more leaks right now with the FBI working directly with Twitter to censor information about the COOF and the vaccines and all that stuff. So, I mean, at this point, like I said before, I am still looking for someone to interview who has been fully vaxxed and boosted. And I want to know how you're doing and I want to know how you're feeling. I don't care if you truly feel it's the right thing to do. I want to sit down and talk with you. I want to pick your brain. Okay, I just want to learn and I want to understand. This is about intellectual debate. This is about intelligent conversation. This is not about ridicule. I'm not here to laugh at you. All right, I really want to get down and I want to talk. And that's pretty much about it. I mean, it's something that I'm striving to take care of. Also, some of you saw I'm going to be doing a War on Consciousness documentary. I would really like anybody who's interested in getting involved to hit me up. Let me know. We're really going to take this project full scale in spring of 2023. I'm hopefully we'll get Graham Hancock to say a few things. Hopefully. So do not bank on that, but I do hope that I do know Ron Randolph. He's a spiritual book writer. I'm hoping he will say some stuff. And there's a lot of other people who I'm looking forward to interviewing for this documentary. And I really am looking forward to this. So one thing I do want to bring up real quick. Let's go ahead and get myself moved over here. So there's a little bit of a health and fitness thing I want to talk about today. Y'all know I'm on my health and fitness a lot. It's something I am very big into. I believe it's integral to a spiritual journey. I think if you have your health in check, your vibration is going to be higher. You're going to feel a lot better. In fact, Ben did an awesome Q&A on this about taking care of your mind and body during that event because of a lot of things going on as far as more radiation, reduced magnetic field. It's going to be making cardiac problems act up, mental health problems act up. I mean, yes, I kind of can resonate with him on the fact if you do look at the world right now, it is kind of in madness. Or that's what they want you to see. That's what they want you to feel, and that's what they want you to think. So this is something I just want to bring up real quick. Let's take a look at this real fast. So we got food for thought. Eat one of these 4 diets to extend your life. So we're going to talk about how how I truly feel about this. So, well, it looks like New York Post wants to act funky again. What else is new? I will be getting a new laptop soon, y'all, because this HP Stream is supposed to be meant for streaming, and it really does not do a great job. Thank you all for bearing with me. Um, let's see what we got here real quick. Unless it freaking nixed it. Here we go. So let's take a look at this over here. So, these 4 diets to extend your life. Let me go ahead and bring it down because I know my camera's probably going to be blocking you a little bit. Okay, so the one thing they're talking about here is food to help extend your life. So here's the one thing I'm going to say. All right, is number 1, y'all. Okay, there is no magic way of eating. There's not. Okay? And take it from somebody who's been lifting weights now for about 15 years of his life. I've competed in powerlifting meets. Actually, you can see right there, that's my little plaque, wrong side, in the background from my last meet that I did. And so when we talk about healthy diets and we talk about eating well, we talk about eating sustainably. That's the thing that I like to bring to the table, especially when I talk to people about diet and nutrition. Eating sustainably means not telling yourself you can't have anything. Now, hold on a minute now. I know y'all are going to be like, well, what do you mean, man? We can't be eating like dirty foods. We need to eat clean foods. Yes, I agree. I do agree. Your diet should consist mostly of organic whole foods, most certainly. And it should consist of a lot of fruits and vegetables. However, when I say sustainable, it means none of this paleo shit, okay? None of this keto stuff. I know I'm probably already ruffling some feathers by saying that, okay? I know some people who do a primal diet. I mean, that would probably be the best one out of them all. If you want my honest opinion, that would probably be the best one because you do actually get a well-balanced amount of foods. But then again, you're telling yourself you can't have anything. So one thing I kind of take a book out of the page of Greg Doucette when I say this. I'm about a non-restrictive caloric deficit. And I'm also about a non-restrictive caloric maintenance. However, when we start talking about caloric surpluses, like you're trying to gain weight, we kind of delve into a little bit of a different territory. But the way I eat is this. I eat organic whole foods, all right? I map my macronutrients, and I make sure that I get the protein, the fats, and the carbs that I need each day. Now, let's say I get all my macronutrients met. I have all the protein, I have all the carbs, all the fat, I got my vitamins, things like that, but I got like a few hundred calories left over. That's when you can have the scoop of ice cream. That's when you can have the cookie. That's when you can have the piece of pie, the piece of cake, the piece of banana bread, whatever you want to call it. It's about being smart with it. And I know a lot of people are like, well, dude, we need to stay away from that stuff. And I agree, we do. But you're a human being. The human experience is temporary. You're here to not only do something, whatever your purpose is or whatever your heartfelt purpose you have found is, you are also here to enjoy yourself a little bit within reason. Now, I don't mean being a full-blown hedonistic guy who just freaking eats his face off, doesn't work out, drinks, watches porn, does all that kind of shit. No, I'm talking about, having that little bit of cake when it's right. And a lot of people are crazy. They think they need to be on this special diet or things like that. So the number one thing that I take every day, if you feel like your metabolism is lacking, and this is also good for cleaning fluoride out of your body too. I've been taking this stuff for years. I'm sure you've heard about it before. Iodine. I take it in the form of kelp. I take about 7 times the daily value. Now wait just a minute. I've done my research, okay? You can take upwards of 2,000%, my bad, 2,000% of the daily value in cases of nuclear fallout. Iodine is a relatively safe thing to take. It also helps your thyroid work more efficiently. It does. I'll tell you, I've lost in the past 3 years about 30, 40 pounds, and I do kind of attribute it to the iodine intake. I increased my iodine intake back 3 years ago as an experiment. And yes, I did do the work. I do work out on a regular basis. I do eat very well. And that probably had a lot to do with it. Don't get me wrong. But I do think that iodine had a really big part in playing that. I do think that it does help with the fluoride also. I've noticed within the years I've been taking the iodine, I drink reverse osmosis water. I cook with reverse osmosis water. I remineralize it, things like that. And I have noticed a difference. Let's just put it this way. And really, I can't really describe it. It's something you're going to have to kind of experience yourself. It's a type of clarity. That's the best way to put it. So, while I'm on the topic here, let me see if this guy wants to do it again. Oh, something about Mel Gibson. I'm not getting into Mel Gibson today, New York Post. We can't talk about those people, remember? You see how it happened to Dave Chappelle and fucking Kanye West. We cannot talk about that. Alright, so, anyways, another thing I want to bring to the table too is meditation. Alright, I think it is an integral part in any kind of self help or spiritual journey, or even just training your mind in general. Meditation is very important, y'all. I think developing a mental discipline in your life is integral, 100%. I meditate. I do 3 types of meditations. I do yoga, I do ashtanga, or I'll do vinyasa from here and there if I'm looking for a little bit of a sweat. And then I do something called Taoist yoga, which is qigong, which is sorry guys, I was climbing in an attic. Fiberglass galore. Qigong is a moving meditation done by Taoist practitioners and Tibetan Buddhists. It helps cultivate life force energy in the body. And I do kind of attribute it to why I look the way I do at almost 35. Because there's a lot of guys who don't do it, who work out and eat healthy, and they're 35, and I'm trying not to sound like a dick when I say this, but you can tell. But I do Qigong, and then I do standard meditation. I've been doing that mantra now every day. I do silent meditation, though. And I'm going to tell you it has been a huge improvement in my life. It most certainly has. And it really does the job. I when I start my days off with meditation, dude, I got to tell you what, it's hard to have a bad day. It really is. So, that's another thing on the spiritual sense of the getting ready for your journey, picking up on it. I implore all of you to eat healthy, exercise, meditate. This is the biggest act of resistance you can do right now. Because we live in a world now where the pharmaceutical industry believes it knows what healthy is and believes it is the dictator of what health is. And one of the things about the COOF restrictions that really bugged me was, number one, they took sunshine from us. Vitamin D is integral for your immune system and is also integral for a good mood and happy health. They shut down gyms. Yeah, that didn't stop people like me. I worked out at home. I'm not stopping. I will do thousands of push-ups every fucking day if they want to close the gyms on me. I don't really care. And they closed down gyms and they didn't want you going outside. And and a lot of people were ordering takeout and DoorDash. They weren't really cooking meals because they would Instacart their food or things like that. So they really took a lot of what actually makes real health out of the equation. And now we have people dying suddenly. People dying suddenly from whatever it may be. I'm not trying to have the algorithm shove me down any further than I am. But it's the biggest act of resistance you can do right now is to be a healthy person, is to be a sovereign person, is to be a person who thinks for themselves, takes care of themselves, and uses the discernment to the level, the innermost level of their being, And I think that's really the message I try to preach on my side of the things, I know I'm a little bit more health and fitness oriented than a lot of people on the spiritual game. I'm not saying everybody's not, but I take it a little bit more seriously. That's also because of my past and things that have happened to me. So, another thing I'm going to touch base on real quick is there is a lot of fire coming down right now in the world. And what I mean by that is that it seems that anybody who is speaking out, anybody who is saying anything against the narrative, the establishment quo, is getting snuffed out, getting put down. Now, I, for one, am always going to say, don't be afraid. Don't. All right? Never be afraid. We're all going to do this together, you guys. And I know some of my people like to call that hippy dippy shit, but it's a fact. Don't be afraid. Keep standing up. Keep speaking. The more of us that speak up and the more of us that say what we need to say and put our feet down, nothing's going to happen. Now, I'm a little bit more optimistic than some people. I mean, I'm sure as you heard in the Ben Davidson interview, he thinks there's more pandemics coming. He thinks there's a lot of other things on the sign. I don't think they're going to get the chance. I really don't. I do think that in March of this year, we're going to get a really big rug pulling event. I really hope so. I don't think it's going to be the official rug pull, but I think it's going to wake a lot of people up. And then we all need to kind of take the Renaissance into our own hands, guys. I mean, we talked about on the last show, I was a little bit off on the last show with Joe, and I do apologize about that. I have a lot going on in my life, and I'm not going to really dig too much into it right now. Some of the people who know me very well know what's going on, and I am just trying to kind of regain composure and get everything rolling smoothly again. But, we talked about breaking that deal with the devil. Okay? And a lot of people, the devil can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. You know what I mean? I think the quote-unquote devil is something I would call a demiurge. He is a craftsman of the physical realm. He is devoid of all spirituality, even though spirituality is what created him. And he has to use fear to get people to worship him as a god or the god. So, kind of even touching base on that a little bit. I'm not trying to recap it per se, but, there's some really interesting things there is you have to lose the fear. The losing the fear, playing the non-attachment, okay? I know there's a lot of people who still watch the news and they see these things on the news and they get all caught up in the emotion that they lose all rational thought. They lose all logical thinking. Okay, that's not really the way to go about it, in my opinion. I think what you have to understand is there's a lot, and I'm now talking, it's kind of grazing towards the insurmountable amount of evidence that the news lies. There are staged events. Things are staged in order to harvest this energy from you. And I've talked about this before, and we talked about that deluge, and that's what a lot of the some people have heard it from the New Age community. Some people have heard it from other people. I mean, I actually brought it up. We were talking about Damien Eccles' book. Actually, let me go fucking grab that real quick. I'll be right back. I know, it's probably going to ruffle some feathers, but I got Angels and Demons here by Damien Eccles. I got really big into ceremonial magic because of him. And I know he's got, some people think he's got a jaded past. But I really do think that there's some merit to what he says. So I'm going to see if I can pull the exact thing up. So let me see here. So let me see. I think I have it somewhere. And if I don't find it right now, I will find it for you guys and post a photo. Okay, here we go. Buddhist traditions teach that an untrained and unfocused mind produces dukkha. So you can see right there, dukkha, right? So that is also loosh, okay? It's just a tomato kind of situation. So, and dukkha is a kind of cyclical energy that keeps us trapped in suffering. Well, would you look at that? The fear. Guys, fear keeps us trapped in suffering. That's number one. I mean, you have to remove the fear. I'm not getting too big for my britches. There's still things that I'm slightly afraid of. Death, not one of them, believe it or not. There's other things like emotional fears and things like that. I'm not perfect. I'm no guru. Maybe one day. Don't know yet. And so some ceremonial magicians teach that dukkha has a type of intelligence behind it called karanzan, sometimes referred to as the dweller in the abyss or the demon of dispersion. Now, even in some traditions, karanzan is a group, not just a solo entity. So that is, I'm sure a lot of people who are new to the awakening journey think that might be a little woo. But it's not. I've had encounters myself with things that I cannot explain. Practically my whole fucking life. And there are things out there that are walking among us that may pose as human or might not. You might not even see them at all. And that's what I find funny about a lot of skeptics is they're like, well, if the aliens are here, where are they? Well, so let's say you wanted to observe some monkeys in the wild. You want to observe some chimpanzees. You want to observe some gorillas. You want to see them in their natural habitat. You find them interesting. You see what they want to do. You see what they do, right? You know that if you come into their habitat and you disturb them, that the jig's up. They know you're there and they're no longer going to be acting natural like they're in their habitat. What makes you think they're not doing the same thing? What makes you think that they are not observing us, possibly even very closely, but in an area or a frequency or a realm that we necessarily cannot perceive every day? And that's the thing too, guys. I've talked about consciousness creating reality. Quantum physics hits this hard, very hard, and talks about this on how consciousness is like a waveform. Okay, it can tune to stations and visualize whatever frequency the consciousness is radiating in. So if we're talking about beings in higher consciousness, they're going to be in a different kind of space than we are, albeit they might be able to interact with this one. I'll even kind of use the whole 2D, 3D, 4D comparison. So let's say you have a 2D person, right? Let me see if I can kind of mimic this real quick. Let me see if I can find some things. Okay. Yeah, let me grab this. So here's your 2D plane. This stick of gum is a 2D person, right? And let's say I got a ball, right? I'm a three-dimensional being and I'm going to drop this ball into this dimension. All they're going to see is a flat disc kind of growing larger and then disappearing, right? And I really love to kind of talk about, how Joe likes to do his TV and his movie comparisons. I have a really good one for this. It was actually that episode of Futurama with the Tesseract, where they got sent back to the second dimension. And they were all sitting there having to walk around people because they couldn't, or they had to walk on top of people because they couldn't walk around. I found it absolutely hilarious. But when they were there, they go, we got to get back to the third dimension. All of the people in the second dimension were like, third dimension? You're crazy. You're nuts. Ha ha ha. And they laughed it off. So, case in point, if we had a four-dimensional being drop a three-dimensional ball into this reality, we would see a three-dimensional ball kind of expand and then disappear because we cannot perceive that fourth spatial dimension. I do think that model is flawed, but I'm using it as a comparison right now because I do think that the fourth and the higher realms are a little bit different than just spatial dimensions. So this is kind of the case in point when I'm hitting home with guys with these observing interdimensional extraterrestrials. I do think that they are watching us very, very closely, and I do think they are very interested and they are heavily invested in us for one reason. Call me crazy, but I believe we are them. And I've said this multiple times. I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but let's say you're a higher dimensional being and you want to come here and help facilitate in the Great Awakening. In order to come to this place, you got to hop in a human suit, right? It's not like in the Golden Age where they could just come and go as they pleased. Now, if you want to come here, you have to play the game. You have to play the part. And that, in and of itself, should kind of give you some retrospect about what I'm saying. We are most definitely them. They are most definitely us. And it is the only reason that they are so heavily invested in us. The only reason. only. Because let's say I'm just this intelligent extraterrestrial civilization who's just deciding to, go. I'm flying around the universe and I come up on planet Earth. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. I want to be like, holy shit, look at that. They're aiming nuclear weapons at each other and they're yelling at this invisible person in the sky and they're super mean to each other. Holy shit. Don't really want to be here. Goodbye. Fucking take off. You know what I mean? But these, whatever they are so heavily invested in our affairs, so heavily invested in our development, so heavily invested in everything about us. So, don't use the if I haven't seen it, I don't believe it aspect, because I think that is where science has taken a wrong turn. They think if they can't prove it, it doesn't exist. I believe until it is proven it does not exist, it very well could possibly exist. So, anyways, I'm going to digress. We're going to kind of get back to this now, a little bit of my personal thoughts and things like that. So, you guys, thank you again for, sitting here and listening. I did record the first edition of the Addiction Recovery Dialogues, and it's from yours truly. I am still contemplating if I want to post it because I've been a little bit raw and honest about a lot of things that have happened in my life, and I probably will. I just need to think on it a little bit more. But it will be an audio only section of this podcast. I think, sorry, it's gum, I promise. I really think that recovery and a spiritual journey go hand in hand. I'm a big believer in that. Even though I'll touch base on it for a little bit, but when I was young and I got locked up because I was addicted to heroin and I was stealing, I found these esoteric traditions, these hermetic traditions and stuff like that while I was in jail. And I kind of got happy that I found something that made more sense to me, that wasn't so black and white, that took into account the gray for the world. So I do believe recovery and spirituality and spiritual awakening go hand in hand. So let me see if I can bring something up. Let's see if Microsoft Edge wants to behave. Let's take a look here. Can have some comedy. By the way, I saw a video of Bill Gates earlier that I thought was absolutely fucking hilarious. I will probably be posting it to the YouTube page or the Facebook page. So let's take a look. Let's see what we got here on New York Post today. Okay, like I was saying earlier, remember guys, just eat sustainably. Eat clean, organic, whole foods. Now, something I do want to talk about too, that's just kind of coming up right there. I don't know if y'all just saw it because my fucking computer likes to act like it's dumb. But the porn industry. All right. Porn. I know there's probably going to be some people on here like going, oh, Steve, like, you can talk about being sober, but you can't take away my porn. But like, in all honesty, guys, porn is very detrimental. It is. It's detrimental to your dopamine system. There's people on YouTube. I don't even got to quote them. I mean, Andrew Huberman, Jordan Peterson, Andrew Tate. A lot of people talk about how bad porn is. It really is, guys. It's not realistic. You do lose your testosterone by whacking it too much. Most certainly, you do. I'm kind of glad I'm seeing that industry phase out. It's not as big as it was when I was a teenager. Thankfully. Because, there's still people who watch it. There's still people who are addicted. And guys, it's a very real and big addiction. It most certainly is. And it's not good for you guys. You're as a person, as a man, oh God, I can't believe we're touching this right now, but I guess we are. As a man, I have noticed that when you do it, you do lose motivation. You do lose drive. You do lose. It is that false response that you have reproduced. You're done. You're good for the day. You did your evolutionary task. You did it. And, some people, once is not enough. But I know. I'm getting deep down and dirty on this one, y'all. But sometimes it's not enough. But it is, man. So because our ancestors in ancient civilizations, they didn't have porn to look at. They were busy with self improvement and understanding the universe and understanding themselves more so than watching Mia Khalifa get. Anyways, but speaking of Mia Khalifa, she is really taking it out on the world of men right now. She's upset that nobody wants to be with her. Well, I wonder why. I digress. Like I said, porn's not a great thing, y'all. Stay away from it, man. Just go for the real thing. Work on yourself and wait for the real thing to come to you. All right? That's the number one thing I give. Man, are you going to freaking just work for me today? Let's take a look, y'all. Let's hop on the New York Post again. There was something else on here I wanted to bring up to y'all. So Jordan Peterson is still kind of going up against the his college and the Canadian government when it comes to removing his psychology license. I was listening to Michaela Peterson's podcast actually on it, and I guess they've been dealing with it. And even as I'm talking about Jordan Peterson right now, I hear Joe's Kermit the Frog voice in the background. Oh, hey Kermit, but Canadian Kermit. I'm not as good as impressions of Joe, you guys, as Joe. I'm not. I'm okay with humor and comedy, but as far as impersonating people, Joe takes the cake. He does, most certainly. So, date with death. Women details uncomfortable Tinder date with accused Idaho killer in viral TikTok. Man, I think TikTok is a plague, y'all. It is the ultimate release of dopamine. It is the ultimate distraction in this world. It is the ultimate. I do not care about the Golden Globes. Oh, look at this. Again, more smear campaign against Musk. Have you guys noticed ever since he took over Twitter that everything's bad about him now? Everything, even independent media, or even like some people would call this fucking shit tabloid right here. He's had nothing but negative responses and reviews. The puppet here, he might have taken secret documents for his book, doubling his. I'm surprised he could write a book. Go figure. Yeah, I'm surprised he could actually write a book. I really don't care about the royal family. Okay, we talked about that. The whole just a business, U.S. citizens detained. Yeah, man, there's really not a whole. He earns Guinness World Record for largest loss of personal fortune in history. I don't really know too much about Elon. I don't know him as a. What the hell? Flushed with anger, influencer inflames Hawaiians with pathetic behavior at erupting volcano. Well, you can't make this shit up. I like doing these things on the world stage, guys, because you want to know why? I know it's a show. And here's like me trying to show you it's a show. You know what I mean? I'm trying to show you it's a show, guys. And it's not something to get caught up in. Well, I guess New York Post decided to take its shit. But, I'm going to be closing off this episode today with a couple of words. Guys, come find me. If you're in the Denver area, okay, let's get together. I want to host my own meet and greet. I want to get to know people. I want to start networking with you all. I want to start collaborating. I want to start bringing this renaissance into fruition. It's time we start taking media, journalism, music, all of this into our own hands. It's time to start something new. I don't know if you guys want another revamp of another movie that existed like 10 years ago, or you want to see something new. You want to hear actual music, or do you want to hear the garbage that is on the radio nowadays? Do you want to bring the truth to the table instead of having it censored by outward sources? Do you want to write a book and have it published without having to deal with a publisher? come find me, you guys. Let's get together and let's talk. And I also want to organize with people in my community too. I have a guy, I won't name him, but he knows who I'm talking about if he hears this. He's got his whole little sustainable living set up. He raises chickens, quails, rabbits. He's got bees. I've gone and done electrical work for him. You know, he's a great dude. He's a lot to learn from. Hopefully, we can have him on the podcast soon. I'd really love that. And you know, come find me. BGCast on Facebook, BGCast88 on Twitter. I will be over at Joe's tomorrow. We'll be doing our show. And then next week, Wednesday, I'll be on Matthew's podcast. I cannot wait to be interviewed. This will be my first time being interviewed as opposed to me interviewing people. And I really think it's going to be cool. We're going to dig into some ancient civilizations. We're going to talk about ancient civilizations and, you know, what they did that could help us today and how we could come full circle back to that kind of knowledge, which is my kind of conversation for all of you guys who know me. And just in case, you guys, I have, wrong one. I got the Flower of Life tattoo here. I need to get it touched up, but this just goes to show you that this philosophy is my life. And I would not have put that on my body if I was not serious. So, y'all, dig the ball cap, dig the tank top. It's a little bit of a change from my normal beanie and sweater look. I was getting really tired of looking like a Tim Pool ripoff and a ripoff of Jeremy from the Quartering. So I'm throwing on the Vans cap from here on out for a little bit, and we'll see what happens. So until next time, y'all, you know my famous phrase.